Welcome everyone to the next edition of the Stay on Course podcast. Today, we have Allister Frost, and he's a global keynote speaker and award-winning author who helps professionals break free from change fatigue and step boldly into the future. He's the creator of the Already Growth Cycle and former Microsoft leader. He's trusted powerhouse by brands like BBC, P&G, and 3M, and he spends his time energizing teams and inspiring lasting transformation. Welcome, Alistair, to the Stay on Course podcast.
Oh, Julie, what an introduction. Thank you so much. I've got a lot to live up to.
Yes, you do. That's a big background you have there, Alistair.
Big background, but I'm really looking forward to talking to you today about the future ready mindset and ready already and all of the good things that I love sharing with the world.
I love that. I love that. And it's right up my alley. But Alistair, I ask all of my guests before we get started, what is your favorite food?
I love a pizza with seafood on it, a seafood pizza.
Oh.
So it's got some clams, some mussels, lots of tuna.
Mm.
And the more anchovies, the better. I adore anchovies. And I'd have that with a little rocket and parmesan salad on the side, bit of olive oil on it. Of course, light Italian red wine, I think Valpolicella, something like that.
Okay.
Nice Chianti, that sort of thing. That's my dream food. I just love it. And the anchovies are great because they make you really thirsty, so you drink more wine, and it's always a good night.
Okay, Alistair. I love a good seafood pizza. My father used to do that and bring it
Yeah.
home for me because seafood is one of my favorite things, but not the anchovies. I got to tell you, I'm not going to put anchovies on my pizza.
Oh, it divides opinion, but that's a hill I'm prepared to die on. A pizza without anchovy is not worth eating.
Oh, that's funny. A hill I'm willing to die on for the anchovies. Okay. That's already funny. So like I'm not even sure where this conversation is going today. But but we are talking about being ready. Tell us a little bit about your book and your system.
Yeah, I've got this book. It's called Ready Already. It's available from all good and probably some bad bookshops, I would imagine. It's about a future ready mindset, this new thing that I've been talking about. I've been talking about it for years, but it's the fact that we've got so much change coming at us, all of us. Doesn't matter what you do, the world is changing. We were
Yeah.
briefly talking about AI before we went on air, and that's changing stuff, whether we like it or not. And I think people need a new skill if they're to keep up and thrive, and that's to be ready already. It's a kind of just a proactive approach to thinking about the future, about the inevitable, and that's a really important word for me, changes and challenges of the future. Because if we're honest, if we all sit down and thought about it, there's a lot of obvious stuff that's going to change in the future that we know is coming, and we could perhaps get ready for some of that stuff.
Oh, we could
And
be getting
that's
ready.
what it's about.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But often we're caught up in the day. We're
Yeah.
today ready, not future ready. We get through the day and we put our feet up, and I have a glass of Chianti or whatever, and think, phew, thank goodness that's over. And then we go and do it again and again until we pop our call and off we go. That's the end of it. What's the point? Now, I think because there's so much change coming at us, we have this wonderful opportunity to not get ahead of it, but do the things that matter to us, to
Yeah.
focus on what's necessary for our future, not what the boss tells you or you read online. Think about yourself.
Exactly. And we really have to get real here because what worked for us back then is not working for us now.
Yeah, that's why I say that often in my talks. What got you here will not get you to where you need to be. But that is a change. You've got to remember that is a change. Previous generations could learn a skill, get really good at it. And frankly, they could kind of do that thing for the rest of their days. Things changed a bit, but not that much. No, that's all gone. That's gone. Because even if you learn how to just write an email today, guess what? There's some new AI thing will come out tomorrow that does that thing for you, or does it in a different way, or helps you in some new way. If you're not paying attention to it, you're
Sure.
going to get lost. But it's not about AI. Just to be clear, AI is just one of the very obvious examples in life today
Yeah.
that's transforming so much stuff.
It's transforming the whole landscape of work, the whole landscape, and the way we approach work. And, I'm wondering if the schools are even ready to be teaching this sort of thing. I don't even think the teachers understand it. And professionals are sort of, in it, so they can't really understand it. How do we keep that mirror of the future in our face while we're in the moment? What do you tell people?
I tell them to start with themselves and say, what do you care about? And I know you want to talk about the ingredients of success.
Yes.
So if you want to get a future ready mindset, the most important ingredient that I talk about in the book is what I call a personal mission. It's why do you do the job that you do? Because I don't believe that anyone ever created an amazing future for themselves without knowing why, without having some sort of reason to do it, right?
Yeah.
You're just not going to put in the effort, do the work that will get you to that place. And a personal mission for me is the guiding thing that inspires you, that makes you feel special. And I remember when I arrived at Microsoft a few years ago, and I was there for 10 years, the first job I had, they put me in charge of Microsoft Outlook and Exchange. They were my products, right? So they're quite big, well-known products, but they're not very cool and sexy. I wanted to work on Xbox and smartphones and all this new stuff. And I got a bit depressed about that until I realized the whole world runs on email. And if I could make 1% of people 1% better at doing email, that would transform, so the world's productivity would go off the scale. So I sort of kind of reprogrammed my mind, rather than thinking, oh, I'm working on these dull products that everybody hates. Oh, I make the world better at email. That's my job. Wow. I'm privileged to work at Microsoft. I'm going to make the world better at email. And suddenly I had a reason not just to do my job today, but also to look at it and say, how can I do more of that in the future? And then I was constantly striving for something else. So that's my first ingredient, is you've got to have a reason, a heartfelt reason why you do the job that you do.
Yeah.
And very often that's something that's it should be unique to you. It's based on who you are, what you care about. If you're a mother, if you're a young adult, if you're close to retirement, you may have very different perspective on what matters to you. And you talk about restaurants and foods and things like that because of your background. But if you work in a restaurant, you might think, maybe you're running a restaurant, say, you might think your job is to, I don't know, make sure that you got the ingredients in for chef, promote the venue, make sure the front of house is looking good. Those are all important. But they're just tasks that will be there every day to do until maybe a robot takes over some of those, whatever. So your personal mission then might be recognizing what's the value that you bring to the world in the service of others. And that might be, if, I don't know, let's say you're in a business district or something like that, you might recognize that actually your personal mission is giving local business people a special place where they can talk, think, dream, refuel, so their own businesses will grow and thrive.
Yeah.
And suddenly you realize you've got a bigger purpose than ordering, another jar of anchovies because I'm coming in for pizza.
Right. And the thing is that, when you look at the service industry, you can really lean into creating experiences for people. Like you're there to create an experience for them to do and like hold a space for fun, for connection, so there's a lot of other things that is like the higher purpose of why you're doing the thing you're doing. I've been talking about purpose for a long time, Allister.
Sure.
And to the point, I told you the story before. I got in trouble at work for presenting personal mission statements back in 2009. And I got scolded by my employer and they're like, why are you talking about a personal mission statement? I'm like, because it's everything. It's everything. It's why you show up every day. It's what gives you energy. It's what anchors you into the moment. It's everything. For you to kind of understand your why is so critical, especially now because things are shifting so fast. We have opportunities that we never had before. If I was 20 years old right now, Allister, oh my goodness, I would have been like ruling the world by now.
20 years old with the wisdom you have now, that of course would be an
right?
incredible recipe. But yeah, the reason why purpose is more important than ever is because we have to evolve and change and learn and grow every day. We do, because the world is changing around us. And I talk a bit about your comfort zone, and we all get settled in doing things a certain way because that's just what works for us. The minute we settle in there and we think that's how I do my job, is the minute you are stepping towards obsolescence. And there'll be a point when actually somebody else, it might be a competitor, it might be your replacement, will take your job. Now, what I'd say is you've got to recognize, what is it that you do in the service of others? And you don't have to be in the service industry to do that, by the way.
Sure.
even at Microsoft making software, I was always thinking about who's the end beneficiary. If I do this job well, what happens? And if you keep looking down the chain of command and you go right to the bottom, you realize that if I do a great job of launching this version of the software, somewhere a family's going to be able to have a holiday because they'll be productive, their business will grow, they'll have some money, and a little boy and a girl will play bat and ball on the beach, and there's a ridiculous sort of extension of the reality. But
Yeah.
that's the truth. That is the truth. If
Well,
you do
yeah.
a great job, the downstream consequences are remarkable. So look at those, find that, and then use that as the fuel to create your future.
Yeah.
Don't feel I've got to be better because I want to make more money, or I want to, get through the day, or I want a promotion. They're not
Yeah.
motivations to do it. Do it because you want to create the best future you can possibly have.
It's fantastic. And the downstream consequences, I'm going deep here, Alistair, is your legacy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
downstream consequences of your purpose is your legacy.
Yeah.
And
Because I think that's a good way of talking about it. Sometimes I describe personal mission as that thing that you might one day proudly say to your neighbor or your friends or your grandchildren or whatever, the thing that you used to be. And you'll say it with an immense pride because you knew that it wasn't just a job. You weren't just going through the motions. You actually poured your heart and soul into that thing, and you're proud that you had the best go at it that you could.
yeah, I want mine to just say facilitator of purpose. That's it.
Mm, nice.
I want to
Nice.
be I want to be that. That's that I at the core of everything I am is purpose.
Mm,
And it is that deep. So when
yeah.
I go and work with people on their businesses, to me, it's about helping them facilitate their purpose here on earth. Because if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, that thing is very close and near and dear to you.
Yeah.
I mean, even with professionals, they're just realizing it in a different way. But there's a
Mm,
lot more creativity when you're sort of like
yeah.
running the ship and you're doing it yourself.
That's it. So I'm holding up, for the benefit of anyone listening to audio, I'm holding up a picture of my model, and right in the middle is a pentagon shape basically. But in the middle of that, connected to the five things on the outer edges, is personal mission. It connects to everything you do, and the beauty of personal mission is, no matter where you are in the process, that I love to share and is written about extensively in the book. No matter where you are, you can always go back to your personal mission to reconnect with the miracle of what you do, so that you find that energy to say, I'm going to keep going, because you will have tough days, you will have down moments, you will question yourself.
Yeah.
But that personal mission, it's not perennial in the sense that it never changes through your life. Of course, we go through many personal missions in our long quest through life. But at any moment in time, that's that one thing that you go back to and say, actually, I do really care about that. And I am important. And I need to trust myself and keep going.
Yeah. Alistair, I don't know how exactly you found me or I found you, but we are resonating together at the same place. I think it's amazing because what you're saying is something that I've been talking about for years. And then everything that I do is about being ready. It's
Mm,
about, how are you now going to get ready for the opportunity? Because those opportunities are going to come and you're going to be ready or you're not.
yeah.
And so,
And also, you're going to create those opportunities as well. If the more proactive you are in pursuing the thing that matters to you, I'm not a great believer in these concepts that if you hope for something, it will happen. I don't think that happens. But I do believe that if you are driven to do something, you will put yourself in the way of luck, in the way of opportunity that will allow those things to appear as if they appeared by magic. It absolutely is on you to be driven, and that's why I call it personal mission. It's you. It's not something that the boss will give you. It's not something you can read out of the company's value statements, all that nonsense. It's you. Why are
yeah,
you here? What are you doing? And how does the work that you do, if you have work, allow you an opportunity to be the best in the world at that thing?
yeah,
Again, that's another small shift that I found really helpful. I used to think my company employs me to do a job. And the day that I realized, I've been looking at this the wrong way, I employ my company to allow me to do amazing things. Because if I wasn't at Microsoft, I couldn't launch an operating system. I couldn't create doing a big event with Bill Gates or whatever it is. I'd never get a chance to do that on my own. But if I employ Microsoft, I take the job, I do this, and I work well, that puts me in a place where I can be brilliant. And the minute you stop thinking of it as I must do the company's bidding, and actually that I'm going to give as much value as I can to this company by being me, everything changes.
Is that the next ingredient? What is the
No,
next
it's
ingredient?
I think. Well, look, in my Ready Already growth cycle in the book, the thing that's got personal mission in the middle, there are 5 steps on the pentagram on the outside. They actually, the initials spell my surname Frost, so they're very easy to remember. The order: follow, react, open, surprise, and tell. But I think because we don't have forever today, I would talk about follow, the very first thing on that list. Because a lot of people are stuck in work and they're kind of like, I don't know how do I change? Well, follow is the first step. After you've got a sense of, okay, what's my personal mission? And it's really simple. It's about picking the one thing that's most important on your horizon that you need to focus on, the one thing. And all you do for this is you make a list of all the things that you think you probably should be a bit better at in the near future. And that list is different for everyone. And it might have technical skills. If that's important in your job, it might be soft skills like negotiation or presenting. Could be anything. It really doesn't matter. But it's that brilliant to-do list that we very rarely write for ourselves, where we have absolute humility and honesty and confront the fact that we do have limitations in the future because we're not very good at some things that probably are going to be important.
Right.
And again, AI would be a classic example of that right now. Then every company I work with, someone's saying, AI is my thing. I need to be focusing on that because I've just kind of seen it in the periphery, but I've never really got my head around it. What is it? Great. If that's your thing, that's the follow step in a nutshell, is about making the best to-do list you'll ever make because it's all for you, not given to you by somebody else, and you only pick one thing on there to do. And the key to success in my model is that you only do one thing at a time. You really try to focus because it's so easy to do 4 things badly. It's better to do one thing well. And so I encourage people in the follow steps to decide, what are you going to follow? And some of the answers I get are wonderful. There's a story in the book. A finance director conference, and the chief financial officer was sitting at the head of the table. They were doing a bit of an exercise on follow. And I went around the table and said, who's got to follow? What's on your list? And they were giving me these answers like, oh, there's complicated legislation, some new cryptocurrency thing. None of it made any sense to me. And I got to the boss at the end of the table, and he was really embarrassed. I don't want to say what my thing is. I said, no, go on, it's okay. And he said, look, I actually think that the one thing that I need to learn about right now, above anything else, is Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I've never really been trained in it. I've never really mastered it. And I get these amazing reports sent to me, and I'm not really, I think I could probably use it better. And it was like, it really was a mic drop moment because everyone in the room was sort of, I went, wow, the boss doesn't know how to use Excel. Well, we can help you with that, boss. It was a beautiful moment. And actually, sometimes the thing that we need to be good at, we've been putting off so long that we kind of get embarrassed by it. And it's just if that's the thing that's been holding you back, crack on. You know where to start. That's your thing. Really that simple.
Yeah.
Fix it. And how hard is it to fix a limitation like Excel? You could go on a 1-day training course. You could probably watch some videos online. Yeah. You just got to carve out a bit of time and do it. And suddenly you've got that monkey off your back, and actually you're back with your swagger again, and you can move on to the next thing and the next thing.
The next thing and the next
thing. And that's
thing.
how you do it. So that would be my second ingredient, follow, which is the first part of my 5-step process in the book.
Yeah. And I think it's the consistency of like, okay, once you do that, well, then what's the next thing that you need to look at? Because it seems like for sure we need to be in a constant state of learning now. We need to be in a consistent state of learning and a curiosity.
Well, that's why it's a cycle, the process that I recommend. You don't go through it once and suddenly you're future-proofed. I hate that expression. We used to say how to future-proof things in the tech industry. We all knew it was a lie. Everyone knew it was. You can't future-proof anything.
No.
Because what is the future? I don't know. So I can't build a product or a service that is future-proofed. But what I can do is be future-ready for what I know right now. So and you do one thing and you do it well, and then you move on to the next thing and the next thing. But for a lot of people, they're either in two modes. They're either not looking at anything beyond their comfort zone because they're just terrified that it might be a bit difficult and hard or whatever. They don't have time for it. There's a million excuses, of course. And the other one is they're trying to do 4, 5, 6 things. Every time they see something, they're jumping on the next thing. Of course, they don't get very far with anything. They never get to go deep on anything because they're constantly, oh, there's something else. Well, you know this, Julie, as well as I do. There's going to be more stuff, new stuff in the future than there is today. So if that's your model, you're in a world of pain in the next few years because there's going to be so much stuff coming at you.
True.
You'll have 74 things you think you need to do.
Yeah.
You'll burn out. So pick one, do it well. Pick another, do it well. Pick another, do it well. It's that simple.
Yeah. And it's so easy to learn now too. There's so much information out there. Today we did a session on personal branding and we're like, okay, let's look up at ChatGPT. Like, what is it saying? How should we approach this? So there's so many new ways of learning that I love. What's the next ingredient, Allister?
Well, I think I have to pick one. And of course, within the Frost cycle, all those 5 steps, I'm not really supposed to have a favorite. Like, you're not supposed to have a favorite child, but there are 3 superpowers in there that I call superpowers: the O, S, and the T of Frost: open, surprise, and tell. So why don't we talk about open? Because you just mentioned what it is, which is curiosity. So after you've found your thing, there's a step called react, which is about learning and validating that that's where you should be investing your energy. And then we get to open, surprise, and tell. So open is the first superpower. And I call it a superpower because humans can do this, but technology cannot. AI, large language models, any form of computing in the future cannot do these things as well as our biological human brains. We don't know how humans do curiosity because we don't understand how the brain works. But it's an incredibly powerful skill. You can't ask ChatGPT to be curious on your behalf because it doesn't know the meaning of the word. It doesn't have that biological mechanism. So what open is looking at your world with a naive, almost childlike curiosity, and looking at it afresh. So imagine it was your first day, walking into the place where you're recording this podcast. You'd look around and you'd see different things. And if you were a child, you'd say, well, why is there I can see there's some plants on the behind you there. Why is there a guitar there? Why is there a wooden floor, not a carpet? If that's indeed what it is, I can't see. You'd ask why questions. And we stop doing this as we become adults because, well, the boss says that's the way it is. And so open is about really looking at things afresh so that you start to open your mind to new possibilities. You create this space in your mind where actually there is a new possibility. It might not be a guitar on the stand tomorrow. It could be a saxophone. It could be a banana. I mean, it could be anything, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly your current state, the status quo, what you have, is not the way you think it needs to stay forever. And it's simply asking why. And it's such fun, this one, with people. The question I often cite is one from Microsoft. When I asked the team, I said, got a question. Why is the Monday meeting always on a Monday? And everyone looked at me like I'd lost my brain. And I was like, no, because it's the Monday meeting. So it has to be on a Monday. And I said, well, why is it on a Monday? Why? And we started really simple exercise, just examining why it was on a Monday. It turned out it was the guy sort of two generations ago or whatever who started on a Monday, and we'd always done it on a Monday. And we were stuck in that cycle for the rest of our lives until someone has the courage to say, why are we doing this way? Could it be different? What else could it be? And the rest of the superpowers, surprise and tell, they exploit that openness in your mind by giving you a framework for having better ideas and for collaborating with others to make them into brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
It really is as simple as that.
Curiosity is awesome. Yeah, because it also lets you show up in a very authentic way. And it's a high energy level. Curiosity is a very high energy.
It's also a lot of people struggle with it because you do feel vulnerable. Asking really daft questions sometimes does make you out to be, people look at you and say, what, you've been paying attention? But you're not doing it to be difficult or you're asking why, because you want to make sense of the way things are.
Yeah.
And the number of times you'll ask, why do we do that there? Why is there an A board outside the restaurant or whatever? And people say, well, it's for advertising. Yeah, but why is it an A board? Well, because that's what we've got. Yeah, but why is it an A board? What else could it be? And you start having other ideas, and you realize, oh, it doesn't actually have to be an A board outside the restaurant. It could be something that's lit up. It could be something that walks around. It could be something that moves. It could be, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many possibilities. Now, if that relates to your personal mission, if that helps you to achieve what is important to you in life, you owe it to yourself to question why the things are the way they are.
Yes.
Because everything, literally everything we do can be improved. And
Yeah.
this came from something that Bill Gates said while I was at Microsoft. He pointed out that today, if something works, it's obsolete. It's already out of date. Everything, every process, every system, every tool, everything you know is already out of date because the world moves so quickly. Someone somewhere, somehow, has figured out a better way to do it. You just
Mm.
haven't found that thing yourself. You just don't know that thing yourself. But
Yeah.
you can look at everything you do, the way we organize this podcast, the way that we're speaking to each other, the way the tool we're using to do this, the way that people are listening to us right now, that can already be done in a different, better, probably cheaper, faster, easier way. You just haven't discovered it yet. Now, if
That's a good
that is the
point.
thing that's important to you, you owe it to yourself to go and explore what else. How could I make this thing
How can
better?
I make it better? How can I make it better? I love that because we really do have all this technology out there. And the way we've done it is not the way people are doing it now. I love curiosity. I think it's a superpower. And
Mm.
curiosity with AI, that's dangerous.
It's amazing. Yeah.
We could be really creative if you have enough curiosity.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of using AI through the process that I explain in the book, because if you use it as one of the tools to help you, to nudge you along, to open your mind to different possibilities, see things, it's incredible. But it all comes back to you, and you have to put in the work
Yeah.
to figure out what matters most to you. That's how you have a unique idea. That's how you become truly committed to something that matters really to your heart. And that's how you're going to have the energy to keep going, keep going, keep going, because life is getting crazy. It's getting faster and faster, thanks in part to technology, but also just the brilliance of human beings and our ability to do things differently. So if you want to sort of keep on the roller coaster, you owe it to yourself to hold on tight, but to be in there for the long haul and to keep doing this stuff because you really want to make a difference.
Awesome. All right. So we talked about having a purpose. We talked about the F, which was
Follow,
follow the
follow.
learning part.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one was curiosity. So those are the
Yeah,
three ingredients.
which I call open in my model.
Open.
So the whole model is personal mission in the middle, and then there's follow, react, open, surprise, and tell. And there's a chapter in the book about each one of those things that explains simply how to do it. It's got some exercises and things like that, so you can really get started very quickly. And I can I guarantee you'll get a good result out of the end of it? No, I can't, but I can guarantee that if you go through this, you'll start to see your world differently, and you'll start to have better ideas about what your future could be.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Alistair. Tell us where our audience can find out more about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, the book is out, so that's called Ready Already, and that's available in all places and stuff as you'd expect. But you can also go online. If you go to readyalready.me, M-E, you will find a page that's got a bit about the book, about the process and so on, and a bit more to help you get started.
Awesome. Awesome. Alistair, well, thank you so much for spending time with me today and being a guest on the Stay on Course podcast.
Oh, thank you. I loved it.